Hello all, I'm Priyanka, and I have my team, the Cloud Squad, with me. I have Gunjan, Bhargav, Akhila, Yogita, and Amresh. We are a team who has come up with an application called Hotel Management. So, in today's PPT, we'll be talking about the project analysis, how we came up with the requirements, then what's the design of the project, and later on, Amrish will be explaining about the design, and later on, we'll be talking about the uh, development of the application and how we have connected the database, and finally the main part is the testing and the security, and also we'll be talking about the future enhancements of this application. So coming to project analysis, so this is an application we have come up with hotel management application, which is a software solution for hotel management. This application makes it easy for the management to see who has checked in, who the customers who have checked in, what's the availability of the room. So previously they used to maintain records in books and using books and papers, but this solution will make their life easy by just giving a brilliant UI for them to interact and store data. So in this applications, users will be able to do room reservations, so they can check in and check out at their flexible times, and also the billing process is also easy here. So we are a 6-member team, and I'm the project lead. We have a cloud application designer, a cloud application developer, a quality assurance specialist, a database developer, and a security specialist. Moving on, so the main objective of this application is it provides a user-friendly interface for customers to reserve the rooms and make payments faster. So, and also streamlining the booking process and improving customer satisfaction. The other objective of this application is the main point that we need to consider for an application is the security of the user details, right? So here comes the main objective, that is collect and store user details and payment information securely, ensuring that whatever customer has provided, the information that needs to be secured with us facilitating with the seamless transactions. So we have done requirement gathering, in which we have done functional requirements and non-functional requirements. So under functional requirements, we have come up with 4 main requirements. That is, user should be able to check the availability with the desired dates. And also he should be having a flexibility in selecting the location for the stay. And then user should be able to select a room, like what kind of room, a king size, a queen size, or a double bed. So we are providing many options to them. And also user should be able to register and input their payment information. Coming to non-functional requirements, so we have come up with a requirement where if there are a lot of users using that application, so our system should be flexible enough to accommodate all the users and make it easy for them to use. The second point is that the system should be secure, so that no personal data is lost or hacked by anyone. So we are making sure the security is good enough for this application. The system should also have a user-friendly interface. So if the application is easy to use, then most of the it is easy for managing the whole hotel using this application. Moving on, so up in this application, we have used we have only developed for the desktop application, and we have used JavaScript and Node.js for this, and DynamoDB as a database. We also have alternate solution, but it comes with drawbacks. So if we are using mobile application platform, it is convenient, but it has a learning curve. I mean, it is very hard for them to use that application in a mobile. Coming to desktop application, it is secure, but eliminate as development would be taking time. So in desktop application, it takes pretty good time to develop the application. So we can also use Python for programming language. So it is easy to use. And large developer community, but it is slower for handling large scale. So if you want to make it scalable, the application should be scalable, then Python will not be a suitable programming language. So apart from DynamoDB, we can also use Firebase, which is a real-time database. It is easy to use, but when it comes to cost, we need to look for a cheaper ones. But Firebase is a lot costlier than DynamoDB. So we have gathered a requirement. So basically, we have followed a SDLC cycle, that is software development life cycle, where it contains of 5 stages, where you'll come up with the problem statement, then you look into the design and requirements of the project, you create the database models, then we build the system with front end and brand. So it comes with development, right? After once you design the system, you'll develop it. So we came up with the front end and back end logic development. And once everything is developed, we tested it, we deployed it in Amazon EC2 instance, and then the final phase is the testing phase. So the next part will be explained by Amrish.
Hello guys. So I'm here to talk about the designing part. So as a project designer, I'm tasked with creating a user-friendly interface for the application. Next slide, please. Yeah. So here are the some of the system requirements, which is like Node.js and Oracle, and we also need RAM more than 2 GB and Ubuntu version 18, and also AWS EC2 server instance, which we need to create in AWS, and the hard disk should be greater than 50 GB, and it should also have the CPU of 2 core. And as like we are also using DynamoDB, which is present in the AWS. Next slide, Priya. So this is the design diagram of the like this is a design diagram. Here, as we can see, the web application, inside the web application, we divided it into 2 parts, that is the front end and the back end. In the front end, we used HTML and CSS. The user interacts with the application through the browser. And coming to the back end of the application is built using Node.js, which handles the server side logic. And the whole web application interacts with the database as shown in the figure, which is a DynamoDB. And coming to the database used in the architecture is DynamoDB. It is a full managed NoSQL database, which is provided by the AWS. So the database stores all the application data, such as customer information and room availability and booking. So coming down to the AWS, the whole web application is hosted on the AWS. So which is a virtual machine in the cloud. The EC2 instance, uh, the EC2 instance is responsible for running the Node.js server, serving with the HTML and CSS files. It will communicate with the DynamoDB. Next slide, Priyanka. So here we divided the project into into 3 weeks. So we completed the project within 3 weeks. In the week one, we identify the key features and functionalities required for the hotel booking web application, as Priyanka discussed in the requirement slide. And next, we determine the technology stack, something like what all technologies are uh, on what all technologies we are going to work. And later, we break down the development and deployment of the web application into smaller tasks, like who will be doing what task, and we created the timeline for it. And later we started developing the hotel booking web application using the technology stack, uh, which is uh, which is mentioned in the step 2. And in the week 2, we integrated the database connection with the code, and later data was successfully transmitted from web application to the database. and a development of the front end and the back end was completed. At the end, like we tested the web application thoroughly so that it is free from bugs. Next slide, Priyanka. So in the week three, we deployed the web application to the AWS, and after that, we monitored the performance of the web application using a AWS monitoring tool, which is CloudWatch. And later, the security team implemented appropriate security measures such as encryption, access control, and monitoring. This will be discussed by Gunjan. And in the last, we developed a plan for disaster recovery, like something like what if something happens while deploying, like we can take the backup and recovery procedures. So we also implemented that. Next slide. So this is the landing page. Here we can see this is the landing page, and there is a footer on the top of the website, like where we can see the home, about, and book now. Next slide, please. So here we can see the availabilities of the room by giving the check-in and check-out dates, and the people, like we can select how many people, for how many people we can book the room. Next slide, please. So here we can see the booking details, something like by giving the receipt ID and the first name, we'll get to know are there any rooms available, something like that. Next slide, please. So this is the footer of the website. Like we'll be getting to know the contact information of the hotel, and all the quick links, and also even to the gallery as well. Yeah, so this is the hotel selection. Like we gave 3 locations. One is Chicago, Kansas, and the St. Louis. Next slide, please. So here we can select the different types of rooms. Like there are 3 to 4 types. So yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, so from here on, my friend will discuss something about project development.
Yeah. So hi guys. So from here I will explain about the application development. So next slide, Priyanka. So this is like the payment page which I developed. So as you can see, after entering the user details and everything, selecting the location, it will land into this page where full name and email will automatically be fetched from previous pages. And here you have to click on, give your payment details, card details, and click on finish pay so that the room will be booked. So moving on to the next slide. So here I will explain just a few of the things in the back end. So here is the first thing is book room, where you will get we will wait for the partition key and the room number. So partition key is like create a receipt ID. That means if a user books it, receipt ID, we will generate a receipt stating the details like what is his receipt ID, his full name, the check-in, check-out date, and hotel location. And second one is room. So based on the type of the room he selected, a room will be allotted. So here we have created it as a asynchronous function because it is we have to fetch the details from the database, which will be an asynchronous, or it is a time-taking process, so that JavaScript won't run to the next line immediately. It will wait for the result. After that, we will insert the required details into the customer table. Moving on to the next slide. So here it is get details, like where you will get the details like first name, the last name, check-in, check-out dates from the user. Like after giving this is like a receipt, when you enter a receipt ID and the first name, you will get the receipt, what is your booking details. Moving on to the next slide. So here it is creating a partition key for the customer table. So for a customer table, like we have to create a receipt ID, as I told you. So receipt ID is a made up of, like, first it has a location. If it is Chicago, it will be CHI, St. Louis, and Kansas. And next next 6 letters will be the date, and then we will attach the record number, so that the receipt ID is the formation of, like, these columns, and we will return a receipt ID. Moving on to the next slide. Here, allocating room for a customer. So after selecting a hotel and the location and room type, we will query the database stating that which room is available. So after fetching that room details, it will be attached to the room object, and then it will be inserted into the table. Next slide, please. So here we will be inserting the customer's data, like after the payment. So his receipt ID, as I told you, the book date, check-in, check-out, all these details will be inserted into a customer table in the DynamoDB. And after successful insertion of the DB, next slide, please. So after insertion of this, here we will update the room details as from, like, if he booked a room for particular date to particular date, in that duration, the room will be the room attribute will be changed to occupied. The occupied attribute will be changed as true, so that it tells us that the room has been occupied. Okay, moving on to the next slide. So these are the other development pages which my friends has developed. So this is like a development of index, which is the home page, and this is the room page, like what are the rooms are available. And next one. So these are the room.js receipt, as I have told you, which displays the receipt details of a particular customer. Next slide, please. This is the location one, where we will display you the 3 locations: Chicago, Kansas, and St. Louis. You have to pick one. So yeah. And this is the JavaScript backend file. So this is the user details, where we will ask the user to prompt to enter his details. And this is the backend JavaScript file. Next. And next, my teammate will continue about the database development.
Hi guys, now let's discuss about database development. Next slide. So when we talk about this project's database, here we have used DynamoDB. So the developer of database developer is tasked with developing the best possible structure for the data kept on the backend. To achieve this, we have used Node.js to produce a relational database model that can be moved into a preferred database, that is DynamoDB. So we have 4 steps to achieve this optimal database development. The first one is designing a ER diagram for database tables, and second one is writing database tables in DynamoDB syntax, and third one is creating tables by connecting to Amazon EC2 instance and database in DynamoDB. And the last one is ensuring that the information entered in the hotel management website is getting reflected into the database. Next slide. So now let's talk about DynamoDB. What is DynamoDB? Amazon DynamoDB is a fully managed NoSQL database service offered by AWS. It is highly scalable and flexible database designed to store and retrieve any amount of data. And this also serves any level of request traffic. It is designed to be highly available and reliable with automatic replication and failover mechanisms built in. DynamoDB uses a key value data model where data is stored in tables, each of which has primary key that uniquely identifies each item in the table. So DynamoDB is popular choice for applications that require high latency, high throughput, and flexible scalability, such as gaming, ad technologies, IoTs, and mobile applications. Next slide, please. So this is a ERD diagram that we have designed for our application. The first one is a customer table. Here we have a receipt ID, which is a primary key, and we have 3 different tables. As my friend told in the previous slides that we have 3 different locations, that is Hotel Chicago, Kansas, and St. Louis. Here, RID will be the foreign key. Next slide, please. So when we talk about the connection to the database with the Node.js, here we have written like var DynamoDB equal to new aws.dynamodb. This is a setup for DynamoDB. So by writing this in our Node.js, in our JS file, it directly query gets query gets executed and data gets stored there. Next slide, please. So these are the tables in our DynamoDB. We have customer table, Hotel Chicago, Kansas, Hotel Kansas, and Hotel St. Louis. So next slide, please. So when we like in our customer table, we have receipt ID, book date, check-in, checkout, email, first name, last name, mobile number, and room type. So in Hotel Chicago, we have RID, room, check-in, checkout, and room type. So similarly, it is the same with Hotel Kansas and Hotel St. Louis. Next one, please. So next part will be discussed by my friend.
Hello everyone, my name is Gunjan and I'll be talking about the application security compliance. Next slide, please. So when it comes to hotel booking application hosted in AWS Cloud, application security compliance is critical to ensure the safety and confidentiality of sensitive data, such as customer, personal, and payment information. The proper configuration of inbound and outbound rules is a crucial aspect of security when using AWS services. Inbound rules in the AWS are utilized to manage and restrict incoming network traffic to various resources, such as EC2 instances, load balancers, and databases. On the other hand, outbound rules are implemented to control the outgoing network traffic from these resources. By configuring inbound and outbound rules, an organization can enforce security policies and control access to its resources. For example, an organization can configure inbound rules to allow only specific IP addresses or ranges to access a resource, or it can configure outbound rules to allow access to specific ports or port protocols. To ensure the security of sensitive data, like customer payment information, secure storage methods like encryption and tokenization, access control, that is, access to sensitive data, should be strictly controlled and monitored, with access granted only to authorized personnel. Or hashing, which is passwords and other sensitive data, should be hashed using strong hashing algorithms to prevent attackers from retrieving the original data, must be used. In this regard, we have implemented encryption using a Node.js library called Crypto. The implementation of secure coding practices such as parameterized queries is essential in preventing common vulnerabilities like SQL injection, buffer overflows, and cross-site scripting. Exploitation of such vulnerabilities can provide a gateway for attackers to breach the application and gain access to confidential information. Moving on to next slide, the use of tools like Nmap. Nmap is nothing but network manager. Nmap is necessary to perform scans and ensure that the only required services are available to public with no other additional ports being open. To identify potential security risks or vulnerabilities in both the application and its associated infrastructure, tools such as AWS Inspector are utilized for scanning purposes. In order to ensure that application operates under a secure connection, tools such as Certbot can be used to apply HTTPS or TLS. Secure continuous integration and deployment processes must be implemented, which should include automated security testing and vulnerability scanning to ensure that the application remains secure at all times. It is necessary to keep web application servers and programs and frameworks up to date with the latest security patches and to ensure that application remains secure. From now on, my friend will take over. Thank you.
Hi everyone. So I'll be talking about the cloud application testing. So to make sure the application works good, we have performed a few tests. Next slide, please. So these are the few tests we have done. So the first one is a functional testing. So in this, we have just tested whether the application is working with as expectation. So it is meeting the requirements or not. So we have done the manual testing, included tests for UI functionality, business logic, data processing, and integrations with other systems. And after that, we have done a performance testing where we have checked whether the app is working with under different loads and stress conditions. And also here we have done for this type of testing is somewhat critical for cloud applications. So where resources are shared among multiple users and instances. And we have done few other tests. So next slide, please. Next slide, please. So with this is the functionality testing we have done. These are the few screenshots regarding that. So this is the room page, and when we have given a receipt ID, well, if the booking is not done, we'll get a screen call. Explain. So we'll get a screen where it states no reservation found with the provide details. Next slide, please. So this from the here, my friend will explain about the implementation there in real world.
So coming to the implementation of this application, this would so the implementation of the hotel management application in the real world scenario would require more features in this application. So we just came up with a basic model, like just the admin page, and you just need to check in, check out. But also maybe in future we'll make it more scalable. So only few of our requirements are met at present, and in future, if we are going to develop this more, so we are going to add more features like the scalability, responsive user interface. We'll just try to make the UI more better than it looks now, and also we will make sure that it supports multiple devices. So coming to our evaluation and future scope. So in evaluation, the hotel management application, it successfully meets the main objective, the functional requirements, that is user will be able to book rooms, so he can see his details, like which room did he book, and also the payments will be successful. And also the cloud-based database ensures secure. So we made it that security is applied, that so that the information is not leaked anywhere, because the user data is very important. The use of Node.js allows, so we have used Node.js, right? So it also allows for efficient and scalable development and management of the application. So in future, we'll try to incorporate third parties for more secured payments and different options, so they can use, like, we have different options to make a payment, right? Not only the bank wire transfer, but also using credit cards, and also using some PayPal or something like that. And also implementation of a rating and review, like we'll be implementing another feature called the feedback, where once the customer has visited that hotel, they will be able to give a feedback, so that it will help the hotel management to make required changes. So again, integration with social media platforms for users to easily share and promote their bookings. So finally, we have done this in 3 weeks, and we have come up with a pretty good project. And thanks to my team members to put everything together and made this project successful. Thank you, everyone.